Welcome back to Let's Play Phoenix Wright, Justice for All. We are now into the trial and suppose last day of this interesting case. And yeah, what we're going to do is not so very much pretty, but it's going to be really funny in any case. So, with that, let's continue. June 21st, 9:48 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 1. Yes, I had to redo this over.
What? Prosecutor Von Karma, you mean?
No, I heard it's his successor this time.
Successor? Manfred Von Karma, he was a really sinister man. He pulled all sorts of nasty tricks all so he could win.
He was a man obsessed with the word perfection. He had a perfect record for 40 long years. Who knows what sort of dirty tricks he used to get each of those guilty verdicts. And now his successor. I wonder what kind of person they'll turn out to be.
No good. Mrs. Wire!
Pearly!
Hurry! You shut up. Thanks for coming all this way. I was really worried about you. It was your mother. Didn't you two come together? Mother's watching over the Tweeties. She said they had Tweety for 2 days straight with no breaks. Huh? And you came all by yourself? Yep, I snuck out of the manor and found the map.
Don't tell me you walked all the way here.
Of course not! I ran!
I can't... Oh my. If it takes 2 hours by train, oh man.
Pearly, what about the train? Huh? What's a train?
I give up.
It's time, isn't it? I'm really scared. What if Von Karma tries to do something to me? At least I know Mr. Edgeworth will be nicer to me than Von Karma. Mr. Edgeworth? Who is that? He's Nick's rival, but he's also a friend. I still remember him as if I had seen him only yesterday. Every trial was a scorching fierce battle until the very end. There's always back and forth with him, knowing your rival for life.
Maya! Please, don't mention that name ever again.
Huh? But why, Nick?
I'm sorry, Maya. I forgot you don't know. He's gone and he's not coming back.
What? Oh, wait a second. What's that supposed to mean?
Court will commence shortly. Please come. Bleh. Court will commence shortly. Please proceed into the courtroom. Let's go. Now's not the time to talk about that anyway.
Nick?
June 21st, 10 a.m. District Court, Courtroom Number 2. Court's now in session for the trial of my fate. All the prosecution and defense prepared. What is with this girl? Ahem! Mr. Wright, are you fully prepared?
Huh? Yes, Your Honor.
Why does he always seem mad at me? Mr. Phoenix Wright? You must be a little shocked because I am the woman, correct? Hold on, so this kid is the famed prosecutor Von Karma? I am Franziska von Karma, the protege. I see. I gave up a promising career in Germany and came to this country for salvation. Revenge. Revenge?
Is this about her fall in love for Von Karma?
If it's something of a personal nature, I'm sure you can... Go! I'm talking. Vampire killer! Oh, sorry. If you interrupt me again, my whip will do the speaking for me. Please speak with your mouth like a normal person, I beg of you. God! Make no mistake, I will defeat you. Prepare to go down, Mr. Phoenix, right? Prosecutor Von Karma, your opening statement, please. Those of Von Karma blood have only one fate, and that is perfection. The defendant, my affair, will find no escape from the guilt on my watch. Very, very well. What is the defense position? Your Honor, does the defense wish to enter a plea of not guilty? Yes. Foolish fool who foolishly dreams of foolish dreams. Once again, say that 5 times fast. 10 minutes. I give the defense 10 minutes before it changes its plea. That's right. I'll have you running for the justified self-defense plea in no time. Justified self-defense? A plea usually reserved for when a person unintentionally kills in defense of himself. We could very easily make a solid case that it was self-defense, but... The defense stands by the plea of not guilty, Your Honor. Because to plead justified self-defense is to say you did kill someone. How foolish. If that's how you want to play it, Mr. Phoenix Wright, then I shall call the first witness. She's just as scary as your father. Like father, like daughter, I suppose. Witness, your name and occupation? Yes, sir. My name is Dick Gumshoe. I'm a detective at the local precinct. Get to the point already. Explain to the court the details of this murder. Yes, sir. If everyone will please look at this map. The channeling chamber has no windows and the door was locked shut. At the time of the murder, only the victim and the defendant were in the room. What were they doing in there? They were channeling a spirit, sir. Channeling a spirit? Now look at disbelief on the judge's faces. Anyway, in a few minutes after the challenge started, gunshots were heard coming from inside the room. A few of the witnesses broke the door down and rushed into the room. And that's when they found the victim was already dead. Correct. I believe this is one of the most open and shut cases I've ever proceeded over. And we get the floor plans. So, how was the victim killed? I was about to get to that. Stop wasting my time, then. And we get to the first testimony, the cause of death. The direct cause of death was a pistol shot to the forehead, sir. The shot was fired from point-blank range. But before the victim was shot, sir, he was stabbed in the chest. The wound was very severe, but not enough to cause instantaneous death. The murderer used the pistol to finish the victim off after stabbing. So the victim was stabbed before being shot. This is the victim's autopsy report, sir. And we get the autopsy report. The court accepts it into evidence. Mr. Wright, you may question the witness. Okay, here what you want to do is do the following. Press everything. Hold it! The murder weapon, Detective Gumshoe. Whose pistol was it? It was the victim's. The victim. Now, why would he have... Why would he have a pistol? Who cares? The point that you are missing is whose fingerprints are on that pistol. If you're not already paying attention to that, then I suggest you start. Fingerprints. There were fingerprints? Along with the victims. The defendant, Maya Faye's, were also on the grip, sir. So the defendant's fingerprints were left on the murder weapon. I walked right into her hands there. Hold it! Point blank, huh? So, about how far away was it? It was anywhere between 12 to 20 inches away. And how do you know he was shot at point blank? Tisk, Mr. Phoenix Wright. I grow tired of the foolish foolery at the foolish fools of this foolish country. Yeah, well, fuck off, bitch. Excuse me? Gunpowder burn. Gunpowder burn. When something is shot from point blank, a burn area is left around the bullet hole. Gunpowder exploding is what makes a bullet fire, and that gets real hot, pal. And there were definitely some gunpowder burns left on the victim's forehead. Wow, never knew that. Live and learn, I guess. Hold it! Stabbed. And what was he stabbed with? A fruit knife. I see. And whose knife was it? It looks like it belonged to the face, sir. And of course, Maya Faye's fingerprints are all over it. All over it, Ugh, this does not look good. What will you do now, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Keep pressing. Hold it! How severe was the wound? If it had been half an inch more to the right, it would have hit the victim's heart. After a stab like that, it's impossible to fight back, let alone stand. This testimony makes Maya look like she had stabbed him with the intent to kill. Hold it! Are you sure he was stabbed first, then shot? Yep, sure can be. One look at the wounds, and you come to the same conclusion too, pal. A fool is a fool who will only listen to the foolish opinions of other foolish fools. A pistol shot to the forehead at point blank is certainly enough to kill instantly. Does it matter then which was first? Think a little more before you open that big mouth of yours, Mr. Phoenix Wright. What a fiend! That's enough. We have clearly established how the victim was murdered. I brought the two murder weapons with me today. Very well, the court accepts them into evidence. So we get the pistol and the knife. The date and time of death was June 19th at 3:15 p.m. Eyewitnesses claim to have heard 2 gunshots at
this time.
And the 2 murder weapons, both with the defendant's fingerprints on them? This does seem like an open and shut case.
Naturally. This is going from bad to worse. As if the summary just now wasn't oversimplifying things to the extreme. Your Honor, feel free to slam that little gavel of yours. After all, there is no room for doubt left. After all, there is no room left for doubt, is there?
That is quite true, Mr. Wright.
Yes.
Even in the face of all this, do you still wish to plead not guilty? It's the opinion of this court that if you do not adjust your plea, you stand to lose.
Sir, just as I promised, Mr. Phoenix Wright. You'll change your plea in less than 10 minutes.
What will you do, Mr. Wright? Will you change to justify self-defense? Because now will be the time to do so. This is your final chance. This is a huge decision.
I better think this through.
I better think this through all the way. We're gonna plead not guilty.
If we plead justified self-defense, it would basically be confessing to murder. After the trial, Ma's life would be destroyed, and she'd be labeled a murderer. I can't let that happen.
Your Honor! Have you reached a conclusion, Mr. Wright? The defense will not change its plea.
We will accept nothing short of complete acquittal. You have sealed your fate, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Detective! Yes, sir. Present the final portion of your testimony. The final strike. Yes, sir.
Now see here, proceedings are run by...
Go!
Oh, yes, of course. Go ahead. Detective, give your testimony. Too much Sheena in the blood?
I think the court would like to hear about the other piece of incriminating evidence.
I'm only joking. Or am I? Incriminating evidence. Moving on.
Sorry, pal, but there's an even more incriminating piece of evidence. This is the costume the defendant was wearing at the time of the crime. As you can see, it's covered in blood. The defendant attacked and killed a person who, without a doubt, was not fighting back.
So this is the costume. There certainly is evidence of a back spray of blood on this.
This piece directly links my FA to the crime, sir.
I see. The court accept this into evidence. All right, Mr. Wright.
Maya's fingerprints on both murder weapons and blood splatters on her clothes. Could this situation get any worse? That's wrong. You seem to be at a loss. I think this is the last piece of testimony the prosecution should have to offer. Feel free to soak off with your tail between your legs, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Please stop calling me by my full name. It's disturbing.
Incriminating evidence. So we're going to do the following. 1, 2, 3.
Press. This blood on the costume. Lab results show that it is the victim's blood.
So there is blood from the victim on the defendant's clothes.
Definitely not good.
Were there any other clues you could glean from this piece of evidence? Well... The fuck? If you must change the topic, then the good detective here must testify again. But too bad, not enough time. Time to move on. Ah, yes, Miss Von Karma is perfectly correct. Ugh. Not even the judge is on her side. But if I bite on more than I can chew here, what should I do? Press. Why is Miss Von Karma suddenly putting up resistance? There must be a reason as to why she suddenly threw out an objection like that. There must be a clue somewhere on this costume. I just have to look harder. Mr. Wright, Miss Von Karma's logic is perfect. There's no way for you to poke a hole in it. Ugh! It's like my time is up. So about the costume. There is one little thing. Your Honor, switching scenes. Actually, there is something very wrong with this piece of evidence. What?
What are you talking about, pal?
Where is this problem you are talking about? I've come this far. There's no turning back now. The problem I have... The problem I have with this costume... Oh, let me read that again. The problem I have with this piece of evidence is here. So, what we're actually going to do is... It's either to the left or the right. I believe it's the left. I asked the court to please take a look at the sleeve of this costume. The sleeve? There's a tiny hole here. Yeah, that hole right there.
A hole? But that wasn't in the report.
It's on the right side. Hold on, what's this around this hole? It smells faintly of gunpowder.
Gunpowder? No one ever told me!
A hole that smells of gunpowder. It looks like I found the hole I was looking for. Your Honor, the only logical conclusion you can make is that it must be a bullet hole. Order! 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 This is a very grave matter. It's best we correct the court record first before anything is. And there you have it.
Sorry about that. I guess we messed up, sir.
Is she actually smiling? What else is she hiding? Pull yourself together, detective. That tiny hole doesn't change a thing. The strength of the evidence still holds. Continue with your testimony. That just now was a fluke. Nothing more. How can you say something like that? This is a huge oversight! Well, I agree it's a mistake on the part of the police. What Prosecutor Von Karma has said is true. The evidence still stands. If you do not find a more definitive problem with the evidence, then...
No way!
Detective Gumshoe, please continue with your testimony.
Yes, sir.
It should be the right, not the left. Because if I'm wearing something, like I'm wearing my shirt, it should be to the left, and I got a hole right here where my right arm is. It should be to the right, not the left. I'm seeing it from reverse, so it's actually the right hole. Let's press that. He wasn't fighting back? How do you know if he was or wasn't?
We could find no evidence that the victim put up any sort of struggle, pal.
So did the murderer have a fight with the victim or not? Depending on this, the circumstances around this murder changed drastically.
We're in real trouble now.
If only I had something to prove that the victim did fight back. That Von Karma, she thinks she can decide this verdict with this testimony alone. I had to find a critical contradiction, then I'll have her. 2, 3, 4. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to present this like so. Objection! Detective Dick Gumshoe!
Yes? Having you call me by my full name is kind of a weird feeling.
You said that my client killed a person who, without a doubt, was not fighting back?
Yeah, I did.
Then what, may I ask, is the bullet hole you police overlooked supposed to mean?
What does it mean?
I'll tell you what it means. It means that the victim had fired off a shot. Is this what it means to not fight back? You're right! It would seem that way. If the victim tried to shoot the defendant, then it would change everything. All right, the wind seems to be shifting.
What is with that "are you finished yet" laugh? Are you finished yet, Mr. Phoenix Wright?
Damn, he's psychic.
Miss Von Karma? It seems that my affair was shot at by the victim. However, that is only grounds enough to support a justified self-defense plea.
That is correct.
But I'm sure you remember, Your Honor, what the defense clearly said. They rejected justified self-defense and pleaded not guilty.
Now that why, that's right!
Which means the defense has yet to prove anything at all.
No! Well, yes, that's true.
Furthermore, just the fact that there is a bullet hole in the costume is not enough to substantiate even a plea of justified self-defense. Huh?
How so?
Don't just stand there. Hurry up and tell the court what transpired that day. With the new information we acquired added in, of course. Huh? You mean by myself? You want me to put together a scenario all by myself?
Vampire killer, vampire killer, vampire killer.
Yeah, sir, right away, sir.
What transpired?
She's scary.
During the channeling, the defendant saw her chance to stab the victim in the chest. Of course, the victim used the last of his strength to fight back, sir. While the two were fighting, the victim took out his gun. The victim took a shot, but because they were too close, he missed. The defendant then picked up on the opening, took the victim's gun, and ended it. The scenario you have put together does make sense. How?
Yes, sir.
Well, Mr. Wright, just by listening, it does make sense. However, I won't give up that easily. Please refrain. Please refrain from glaring at me like that. Now then, your cross-examination, please. Well, we're gonna do one of three things here. We're gonna press 1. There is quite a difference in height between Dr. Gray and the defendant. Add in body strength, and it seems unlikely the defendant could have stabbed the victim. And now that you mention it, yeah, I guess.
You think you can get away with such flimsy reasoning, Mr. Phoenix, right? My affair was in the middle of channeling, was she not? When channeling with the Korean channeling technique, the medium physically changes. With the nurse's build, the defendant could have easily been a match for the doctor.
I don't believe it. She even studied up on the Korean channeling technique.
Shit. Like I said before, I am perfect.
About what you were talking about, I didn't quite get it. Claire. Never mind. Let's continue with the testimony. Skip that. Press 3. Where in the world did that pistol come from? It looks like the victim, Dr. Gray, had specifically bought it for that day. But a handgun. He got it off the black market about 2 days before the murder. Why did Dr. Gray bring a gun? Was he taking precautions against something? Press 4. So, you're saying that the bullet hole in this costume was made then? Sorry, Pablo, that's what I think. The two of them were already fighting when a shot was fired. Maya, I'm really glad you weren't hurt. Now what we do is we go back to 4. And we present the costume. Objection! Missing the tiny hole on this costume will be the prosecution's undoing.
What do you mean?
This little hole has actually created a huge hole in your testimony. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright! You said the two of them were fighting when the victim fired his gun at point blank. If that were true, then where is this gunpowder burn on this costume?
Get the gunpowder burn?
This is what you testified earlier. When something is shot from point blank, a burn area is left around the bullet hole. Oh! But there's not a single trace of gunpowder burn on this costume. That is a very good point. And what exactly does this mean? It means that when the shot was fired, They were standing apart from each other.
I'm disappointed, Mr. Phoenix Wright. You think you can punch a hole in my logic with that? With wishy-washy thinking like that, anyone can explain anything away.
Then I implore you to disapprove my line of thinking.
Let's see. In the middle of their fight, the victim pushed the defendant away. And it was then, when they were separated, that he fired. How was that?
As if that was even possible. According to testimony, the wound from the stabbing was very severe. The victim would not have the strength to push the defendant very far after that.
Then, that's right. The defendant must have pushed the victim away. After stabbing him, she must have put some space between the doctor and herself. And then, while she was preparing to strike again, the doctor took his shot. There, that should satisfy even you.
That does make an awful lot of sense. What do you think, Mr. Wright? I must be careful. I can't afford to make a mistake here. Concentrate and think. Well, something doesn't make sense. There's a fatal flaw in her argument, Your Honor.
Fatal?
Flaw? Ah!
Very interesting. I would love to see where this flaw is. Show me something that contradicts my explanation.
There has to be a snag in her explanation somewhere. She put some distance between them before rushing to make the final blow. And when she was about to strike, the doctor took his shot. There must be a piece of evidence that contradicts this line of thinking. Of course there is. It's the folding screen. About 8 inches off the ground, it is a small hole that looks like a bullet hole. Take that! This is the piece of evidence that destroys your logic. What is that, a folding screen? I would like to point the court's attention to the hole in this folding screen. Ah! It looks like you already know what I'm talking about. Oh, what? Mr. Wright, your explanation, please! Are these two really that clueless? The bullet went through the defendant's sleeve first, then the folding screen. It passed through at a height of approximately 8 inches off the ground, which means when the shot was fired, the defendant, was not getting ready to strike, but was actually squatting low to the ground. Order! This changes everything. Please look at this diagram of the crime scene. The victim, Dr. Gray, was here when he fired the shot. And the bullet hit this folding screen. It hit at this location, about 8 inches off the ground. At this time, the defendant was in this area. She was actually right here. About right here. She was standing here, near the folding screen.
Wait a second. We know the defendant was close to the ground based on the height of the bullet hole. But how can you gauge the distance from that? Isn't it possible that the defendant was standing much closer to the victim?
That's impossible.
But why?
You, of all people, should know the answer to that question, Miss Von Karma. If she were shot from somewhere closer, there would be gunpowder burns present. However, there is nothing of the sort around the bullet hole of this costume. Ah! Cashew Phoenix Knight, you! I believe it has now been proven that the defendant was standing away from the victim when she was shot at. But do you think this has changed the defendant's situation? It changes everything. Honestly, Your Honor, this changes everything. And speaking of changes, I'm changing my page. The prosecution has claimed that the defendant was aiming to kill by stabbing. If that were true, delivering the final strike with the knife would be ideal. However, where and what was the defendant doing at the time? Squatting all the way by the falling spring? Exactly! If Maya Fey was the real murderer, why would she be by the falling screen instead of preparing to strike? Upon further consideration, it does make very little sense.
Yeah, I figured there had to be a reason.
Figuring things out and proving the logic behind everything is your job! Alright, with this, the rest of the trial should be in the back. Oh, shit. Blast radius of disaster. You are such a smart man, Mr. Phoenix Wright. To think that you have been able to completely hopelessly... To think that you have been able to take a completely hopeless case to this point. Now I know why Papa had a tough time with you. You amuse me. I bet she does! All the days it hurt. Why did it have to be that smarmy smile? And that whip too. Detective. How dare you damage my perfect logic? Huh? How is it my fault? You can start repairing your standing by removing that 3-strand gold tear. Oh, and rest assured, your punishment will come later. Punishment. Well then, Your Honor, I think I've had all I can take of this detective's fears. I think it's time to call in the next witness. Next witness? That's gotta be Lotta. Very well. The court will take a 5-minute recess. After we reconvene, we will hear from the next witness. Case dismissed. Well, from this point, I think it's best that we take a short breather here. And in the next part, we're going to deal with Lotta Hart. And I believe we'll be dealing with other people too, like Morgan Fay and Eenie Meenie. And after that, yeah, I think we'll be done here. Hopefully. Hopefully, possibly, maybe something. But in any case, stay tuned for the next part of this interesting Let's Play when Phoenix Wright Justice for All continues right after this.